Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is a journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
Okay, I'm enthusiastic because it's fall, it's football, we've got some NBA going, MLB going. There's just a lot going on right now.
Absolutely.
For a sports enthusiast, it's a great time to be around, be alive, be kicking, be watching sports, all that stuff.
Hey, that's true. This is that time of year where everything is taking place. You got hockey, you got MLS, you got NBA, college football, MLB.
It's just a great sports time right now.
Everything's in motion right now, and we're going to focus on football right now. We're going to talk about the NFL as we're approaching Week 8. We've got a Thursday night game tonight. That's the Dolphins taking on, who are they taking on?
The Dolphins are, I don't know. Oh, the Ravens.
The Dolphins are taking on the Ravens.
Sorry, I'm like panicked. Yeah. I'm like, I should know this. Dolphins and Ravens tonight.
Exactly. The Dolphins and the Ravens. Should be an interesting matchup. Thursday night
How
games
about that for your co-host? I don't know. Dolphins at the Ravens. Right. I'm sorry, Baltimore.
That's all right. Yeah, it's always fun on Thursday night. There's always a lot of excitement. The jerseys are usually solid colors.
Yeah, they have the block coloring
in the air for Thursday night games for the NFL. A lot of people in the past have not been super excited for Thursday nights initially because they're like, oh, the ratings are terrible. Who cares? You shouldn't be playing football games on Thursday in the NFL. Well, guess what? There are some of the best games that are played on Thursday nights. So
agreed.
Then the team that just plays that game has a long break, so they get healthy. They get time to kind of
It's been some really good football, those Thursday night games.
Thursday night games are usually pretty fun.
And the Dolphins have Jay Cutler, and they've been a little inconsistent, but they've been winning more than people thought.
Jarvis Landry, they got a lot of good guys on that Dolphins team.
They're not going to win, though. Are we doing predictions or are we just going through?
Well, we're just talking about how this game is taking place tonight, but we do want to go through some games that are going on throughout this weekend. We're not going to list all of the games, but some of the games that we're interested in. We got the Bears and the Saints. That's an interesting game because the Bears really have kind of taken off kind of throughout the season here. Early on, they struggled, but
they shocked the Steelers.
They
pretty
did.
Quick,
they shocked the Steelers, that first win for them, and then they shocked the Panthers, and then they've been playing tough over the last couple of weeks. So they go to New Orleans, and we'll make predictions there. Then we've got the Panthers and Bucks. Again, I just mentioned the Panthers got shocked by the Bears last weekend, and both teams need this game. So we're going to keep our eyes on that one. But let's talk about the Falcons and the Jets. That's another good game. A lot of people picked the Jets to be dead last this year and the Falcons to be the number one team. I was really high on the Falcons, even though they lost the Super Bowl in dramatic fashion last year. But that's going to be an interesting matchup because the Jets are playing really good football and the Falcons aren't playing so well. And then we have the Texans and the Seahawks. That's going to be a great matchup. Both teams are really just looking for a good signature win. But this will be a great matchup as well. Then you've got a divisional game here with Washington and Dallas. You got the Cowboys going all the way to D.C. to play Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. That'll be a great game. Very interested in that one. And then the Monday night game, as Monday nights are always the creme de la creme of the weekend. You've got our Chiefs playing another Monday night game at home here in Arrowhead against the rivals, the Denver Broncos. So it's a great full weekend. Again, we didn't get to all the games.
Yeah, there's other games, but these are games we think would be interesting. I mean, like, for example, the 49ers are playing the Eagles. 49ers are terrible. The Eagles are the best team in the country. That's nothing to watch.
Right,
you know what I mean? I think we do the Patriots have the Chargers.
Yeah.
So there are other games, but these are ones we felt like, should be worthy of enthusiastic analysis.
Right.
Well, let's get into them.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Bears and the Saints game a little bit. Like I mentioned, this was a big win for the Bears last weekend as they beat the Panthers. They have really stepped their game up with Mitchell Trubisky. What are your thoughts on the Saints, actually, as the departure from Adrian Peterson now in Arizona?
I think it made the Saints better. I think that bringing him in was just adding, it's like making a soup and you're like, okay, I have my soup recipe and I've got my chicken, my noodles, all the right vegetables. I'm going to throw a tomato in there. Now, a tomato, if you ever cook with tomatoes, they get really porous and they change the soup.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what happened with Adrian Peterson. There's nothing wrong with tomato.
Sure.
Tomato soup is great. It just doesn't go with your chicken soup.
Sure.
And I think Adrian Peterson leaving helped them get back into their rhythm. They've got good running backs.
Sure.
But Drew Brees is going to throw that ball.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to worry about AD on the side. You just be you and play your game. So I think it's better.
They play really well at home, and this will be a good win for the Saints if they can beat the Browns, and I think, or not the Browns, the Bears. But yeah, I agree. I think having Adrian Peterson early on made it tough to kind of figure out what they wanted to do, and that's a good analogy with kind of the soup. You got your base recipe, you know what's going to work. When you add that extra little something, sometimes it's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Right, and sometimes the extra ingredients like, look what you did.
Do that, yeah.
And sometimes it's like, what did you do to that recipe? Why does it taste different tonight?
Exactly.
You know, so that's what I think about that. You did say the Browns, they're playing the Vikings this week, but they are starting Deshaun Kaiser, which I think is noteworthy. I don't think they're going to win, but anyway, moving on.
Exactly. Well, we're going to stick with the NFC South here. Let's stick with the, we're going to go with the Bucs and the Panthers.
Yes.
Both teams are in desperate need of a good win here. Panthers again getting shocked by the Chicago Bears. Cam Newton is a disaster right now.
What is going on?
And you could really say the same thing for Jameis Winston. He just has not been performing very well.
Hard
Knocks curse. Yes, Dirk Cutter, the head coach for the Bucs, has not been able to really corral this team to really play like they're supposed to. They've got an all-star team, and they just have not been able to turn the corner. What are your thoughts here on this one?
My thoughts are ditto with that. Christian McCaffrey is supposed to be the running back that saved the league. Oh, I never bought into that. I'm worried about Cam because he's so wildly inconsistent. And then you're watching behavior at the podium that I guess you can't. You got to, let me say this. You need to worry about what they do on the field because the play is what matters. Sure. But when you see somebody who is so inconsistent at the podium, the issue with the female reporter, him, walking off, not even showing up for his press, there's something going on in here. That says that there's a mental, I'm not like he's mental, but there's really something going on with Cam, and it's showing in his play. It's just so inconsistent. So we're going to pick this game right now, I got to go Bucks. And first of all, the Bucks are at home. Now, I know the Panthers are coming off some downtime. They got beat by the Bears and shocked, so they should be playing well. But I don't see enough consistency there. So, actually, I think I changed my pick, didn't I? Because I originally said I was picking the Panthers.
Yeah, you did say the Panthers, but that's all right.
You know what? No, we did pre-production picks. I'll stick with the Panthers. I'm very worried about them. I won't be surprised if the Bucks pick them, so I'll stick with the Panthers.
Well, I was going to say I'm going to stick with the Bucks here just for the fact that they're at home and they tend to play better at home. Both teams are in disarray, and so whoever comes out of this one, I think, will just be happy to get the win. So let's go ahead and move on to the Falcons and to the Jets. Another AFC or NFC South team taking on an AFC East team in the Jets. This will be an interesting matchup because, again, the Jets were picked to be dead last, and them and the Browns were picked to be dead last, and the Falcons were supposed to be a top 5 team all year. Coming off of that Super Bowl, I think there was just still something not quite right with the team. They're just not all there. They still have a great roster. They're firing.
Isn't our boy Philip Wheeler still with the Falcons?
Philip Wheeler is still there. They've got Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones. They've got a ton of great weapons, offense and defense. It's really the same exact team. They did, however, add Steve Sarkisian to the offense as the OC. And I don't know if those play calls may be kind of changing up the offense a little bit, but right now the Falcons are kind of on the lower end as they got beat by the Patriots there.
They just haven't looked very good. They haven't looked dominating
and
this
the
year.
Jets are a team right now who just have no expectations, so any wins are great for them. So,
that's true.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I agree with you, and I think Jets fans, like, we watch some of the other sports analysts, and there's some Jets fans that are just like, we need to lose, we can get the number 1 overall pick. I think you are underestimating what your Jets have to offer. I'm actually picking the Jets at home this week.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think, I love everybody on the Falcons, but they just haven't been consistent. Now, if they could pull it together, they could probably run through the Jets. On paper, this looks like a terrible matchup. But the Jets, there's no expectations.
Right.
They're at home, and they've been playing well. They darn near got the Patriots.
Correct.
I mean, I'm going to go Jets.
Yeah, I agree. The Jets right now are playing well. They almost beat the Patriots, as you said, and why not? And the Falcons don't look really good. And I mean, this would be, like you said, on
just give them
paper,
home court advantage and home field advantage, rather.
Firing on all cylinders, the Falcons should blow them out. But I think the Jets right now at home are seem to be.
I agree. High five on that.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's move on. The Texans and the Seahawks here. Okay.
Oh, man.
You got an NFC West team taking on an AFC South team here. This is an interesting matchup because both teams are extremely athletic. The real main reason why I would only be favoring one team is for the fact that it's a home game for the Seahawks, and I'm going to go with the Seahawks just for my prediction. What are your thoughts on this one here?
Well, I'm a big Seahawks fan, but my Houston Oilers are now the Houston Texans. Okay. I'm loath to pick against my Texans, but we are going to be without J.J. Watt. And I think on the road, Seattle's a really tough place to play. I'm all about Deshaun. Deshaun Watson is, he's my heart. I love him. I love Dak. I love all these young African-American quarterbacks, but this young, energetic crew, even Mitchell Trubisky up at the Bears. He's not black, but, there's a good infusion of young, good quarterbacks. So I really want to root for him, but I just don't think they're going to be able to get it done on the road against the Seattle Seahawks at home.
Yeah, Seattle's playing pretty good right now, and I think just playing at the 12th man is just really hard for any team.
And that defense, and I know that there are issues, and, nobody's having to me issues as the Steelers, but I know there's been some concern about issues with the team chemistry
had their
there.
own problems as well.
But I think they're going to coalesce at home, and I just think it's going to be too much for the Texans.
It'll be a good win for both teams either way, but the Seahawks for sure. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Cowboys as they go up to Washington. What are your quick thoughts on this one?
Well, Cowboys versus the Washington, D.C. team. I'm just going Cowboys straight out. Here's why. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I just can't in my heart till they change that name ever root for them, and maybe I'm just picking with my heart, but I do think the Cowboys coming off a big win against the 49ers, they need this win. They need to play well. They looked good last week, so I'm just going to go Cowboys. This is a rivalry game, so anything can happen, but I'm going Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cowboys right now with that big win, there's momentum carrying over from that win. DC, Washington has had some really tough losses this year, and so I think, like you said, because it's a rival game, it's going to be close, but the Cowboys for sure. All right, last game here. We got the Monday night game. The Broncos and the Chiefs. Our Chiefs at home. Arrowhead's going to be rocking. What are your picks here?
Let me think about this. Chiefs.
Yes.
Chiefs. And let me say this. I would pick the Chiefs anyway. Broncos are not playing well. Their quarterback play is terrible. Defensively, they are still sound, but offensively, we are able to put up points right now. We are clicking on all cylinders. That does not mean that the Broncos aren't going to. And Shane Ray is back this week. He was on IR with a wrist injury, so he's back for the defense at Denver. But we are really tough to beat at home on a Monday night, the night before Halloween, and we hate the Raiders, but you bring the Broncos to town and the fools come out. Like it's going to be a game.
It's going to be a great game. There's not much more else for me to say. I say ditto. Chiefs got to win this one.
But do you say big or do you say it close?
I think it's 14 points, so I think it could. That's big considering football. So.
I think it'll be closer, but we're going to win. But I think it'll be close.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, we want to say we appreciate your time, folks, and we'll see.